muted. A little bit of technical difficulties, but we're getting started here. This is the first week of what's going to be a weekly recap on the week of MMA, UFC, everything going on in the news, fight announcements, all that kind of shit. And it's going to be every week on Sunday. There's not really much going on Sundays ever in MMA. Nobody's usually live, not usually any content. So we're going to have a weekly little meeting here. We're going to go over what happened and what to expect from the next week. So let's get started. I'm not going to waste any time. First thing I want to talk about is earlier in the week, all of the stuff going on with Sean Strickland, Ian Gary, the MMA Guru, all that stuff. To break it down, I mean, you've probably heard something about it, but in summary, let's see if I can pull this up too. Let's go back to this. Let me see if I can pull up. Let me see if I can pull up a little bit of a summary of the situation. Let me see if I can find something here. I tweeted that. That's funny. Let's. Don't let us down. All right, let's just start with this. So, this pretty much sums it up. Let's go back. Hold on. Let me try to find this. All right, we'll start with this. So, pretty much earlier this week, I'm trying to think what really started it, because this video is reactionary. From Guru. Let me see his first video about it. Where is it? That is the first video, I think. Anyway, we'll just start with this. Anyway, the basis of the situation is Ian Gary is married to a 40-year-old woman who wrote a book on how to pretty much marry and get with rich, successful athletes, like up-and-coming athletes, specifically ones who don't have a lot of dating experience or might not know any better and are, newer athletes. So that was exposed by, I want to say Red Pill MMA said that first. I know I heard it from Guru, but I think he at first heard it from Red Pill MMA, RP MMA, which is kind of adds even more layers into the situation where Ian Gary essentially called out a YouTuber. He said a fat YouTuber, a fat wanker with a beard or something like that. And obviously, MMA Guru has a beard, but so does Red Pill MMA. And they were both talking about the situation. And I believe Red Pill MMA was the first one to mention it. That's what happened. So Red Pill MMA made a video about it. Guru's been talking about it. I watch him. He's been talking about it. But Red Pill was the first one to make the video about it. And then you see this clip here, which I guess I can pull up. He's not gonna copyright me or anything.
I'm not on my parents' health insurance anymore, and I work for myself doing a bit of everything. Yeah, so I found a plan for.
This video. Let's see where he actually played the video in here.
It's also made some. Ian and his wife discussed this whole.
Ian appears to bring up.
We don't even need to watch it. In this clip, this little clip here, when it's actually all played out, they're
The MMA guru.
I don't want to like misquote it, but
It drains me, and I don't want to know about it.
Oh, he plays like 2 seconds at a time.
No, don't bring it up to me. I don't want to know about it.
I'm gonna cry with Curtis then.
You cry with.
I'll cry with Curtis then.
Yeah, he's pretty much this video in this clip. He's upset about something, and then she goes, I'm gonna cry about it or whatever, and he goes, go cry with your ex-husband, who's obviously in the room with them in their house, and she goes, oh, I'll go cry with my new boyfriend, who, again, let's have a little bit of backstory. The ex-husband is supposedly allegedly living with them. That's what I have heard. That's what the rumor is, even though she has come out now and said that's not true. So I put that on the record. She said it's not true, but they can say whatever they want now. That was always the thing, was like that they were really close, and I don't think that they can dispute this, but apparently the ex-husband is on his LinkedIn listed as like a nutritionist or dietitian for Ian Gary. So even if they're not living together, that's still some weird shit going on where her ex-husband, 15 years or whatever older than him, is now his nutritionist, and not to mention just a nutritionist, put him on a vegan diet. A fighter puts a fighter on a vegan diet, which you can think whatever you want about that, but I don't think that's an ideal nutritional diet for a fighter. I don't think we've seen any, maybe any at all, to my knowledge. I don't really, maybe I just don't know, but I don't think we've seen any vegan, UFC champs or like, highly ranked full vegan fighters. And to put him on a vegan, literally put him on a soy diet is, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. So this led to a whole bunch more shit and just a week full of back and forth and different people getting involved, like Sean Strickland, Chris Curtis trying to defend Ian the fucking cuck Gary. But anyway, what it escalated to was Ian Gary's wife, or I think they're married. Ian Gary's wife. Whoops. Let me switch screens here. Pretty much what it led to was more back and forth all week and more videos, and Sean Strickland getting involved and some other fighters saying some stuff about it, and it pretty much escalated to Ian Gary's wife threatening to like sue all these people, slandering and lying and all this and that, and we're gonna sue and all this crap, and that was pretty much going on all week, back and forth, shit on Instagram. She's putting up Instagram stories and Twitter and this and that. Sean Strickland gets involved and pretty much, in classic Sean Strickland form, comes in and pretty much just says, what the hell is going on here? You need to get out of here. Ian Gary, we're trying to save you. We're doing you a favor. Let me see if I can find those tweets. Actually, let's see if I can do that real quick. Sean Strickland, Ian Gary. Let's see if I can find the tweets. I'm so bad with Twitter. I should have pulled this up before. I don't even use Twitter, so I literally have no idea. Let me see. Let's do this real quick. I'll make a Twitter account real quick for this, and so I can actually see this stuff. This shit. Bear with me. Should be like 2 clicks. That's more than 2 clicks. This is really the biggest thing that's going on all week, though. It's kind of crazy, but this is where we're at with it. Wow, nobody has that, really? I'm shocked. Sports, yeah, sure, okay. No, I don't want to see all that. No, skip. ESPN, sure, I'll follow ESPN. And then go and unfollow ESPN. And I'm going to follow MMA, ESPN, and that boy MMA guru. Alright, so we'll follow these two. So, okay, I'll find Sean Strickland too. Alright. Let me set a profile picture real quick. 2 seconds. All right, now that we got that out of the way. Okay, let's get back to this. All right, so shit. So what all of this led to was Sean Strickland pretty much going berserk on Twitter all week. Okay. Unrelated. Let's find the related stuff. Oh, this is older. Here we go. So you put a man's I don't need to read all this stuff. We're not gonna put this in a video, right? Anybody that's watching this has probably seen all of this, right? How do I break it down? Where are the videos? I want to see the IG videos. They're probably all gone though, huh? Alright, so all the Instagram videos are probably gone, but pretty much Sean Strickland puts up a bunch of Instagram videos saying, you know, Ian Gary, you gotta get out of this. This woman's a succubus. Literally called her a succubus. Called out that she wrote the book on how to be a wag, all of that shit. And then Ian Gary, probably his wife, DM Strickland and pretty much says, if you don't take all this down and stop talking about it, you're partaking in harassment and defamation of character. Smart move would be to take it down. Strickland, again, just classic Strickland form, comes back and says, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a guy who's trying to help a cuck. LOL, sue me. Get in line, motherfucker. There are a few in front of you. I would have respected you more if you threatened violence against me, but I guess it makes sense. ... Cuck. Sean, what you're doing is spreading hate, lies, and harassment. I'm helping you here, giving you a heads up. To me, personally, that does not sound like Ian Gary typing that. I don't think another man would, in this situation, would be saying, Sean, what you were doing is spreading hate, lies, and harassment. We all know the facts. You can only dispute the facts and try to lie about them so much. You can say, oh, he doesn't live with us, and this and that. There's only so much wiggle room you have here, buddy. Strickland rightfully calling it out, and he's not calling him out like, oh, like I can't believe you're doing this. He's literally trying to say like, yo, you need to be safe in this situation. You're obviously in some shit. You have no idea what you're doing. And that was pretty much that whole portion of the week. I mean, that was a big part of the week, was just going back and forth on that. Her directly calling out Guru and other YouTubers, and just people making content about it in general. And she also alluded to one point that all of this is online harassment. And have you ever heard of this lady who she pretty much name dropped a woman and said, oh well, you know, this people get harassed all the time. Remember so and so, and that person like had gotten bullied online and killed himself or something. So she's pretty much saying like, oh, if you keep bullying us, I'm threatening to kill myself or something. I don't know. But that just seems like a really, really slimy move. You're making videos. You're putting out videos like that video of them in the kitchen talking about, oh, I'm gonna go cry in my new boyfriend's arms, which was her ex-husband, which is his nutritionist. Undisputed fact. If you're putting out those videos, you're in the public, you're doing all this and that. Ian Gary is very public and talks shit on everybody. You can't take anything back. Ian Gary, again, did he call that out here? Somebody called that out. Ian Gary literally, I think Strickland called it out, right? Ian Gary, yeah, right here. You put a man's mugshot on his face to shame him. He puts what was it, Jeff Neal, right? Puts his picture of his mugshot on his shirt and wears it like, and tries to make it was Neil Magny and tries to make Neil Magny out to be some kind of like domestic child abuser, because he said that, you know, the kids need to get disciplined, or you know, I'm used to beating my kids, or he made some offhanded joke about like used to being beaten or whatever, something like that, and then he takes it and tries to make people like turn against Neil Magny and act like he's some kind of child abuser. That and the funny thing about that specifically was the next day after he won, they posted a video of him like celebrating the night, you know, that night with his family, and they're rewatching his fight. Obviously, he's like sucking his own dick watching the fight, and every like 2 seconds he's cursing, saying this and all this and that, and his like newborn kid is right next to him, and he's here talking about how Neil Magny's like I'm not saying that's abusing your child, but like that's not hypocritical at all. Like the whole situation seems like, to me, it's a succubus situation. I think Strickland hit the nail on the head. Excuse me. I think Strickland hit the nail on the head. I think it is a fucking succubus situation. To me, it feels like she's completely manipulating him, and all the stuff that he's saying is really just stuff that that she tells him to say, and it's a weird situation, man. It's a weird situation. The whole how to be a wag thing. Let's go to that now real quick. Guru posted this telling Colby Covington obviously to bring the book, because Covington brought the Donald Trump Jr. book to the press conference before. He's telling him to bring the How to Be a Wag book, which is like $3 on Amazon, so you might as well. That would be an amazing prop to bring up. But the book specifically is like a book on how to like sadistically like manipulate a young up and coming athlete man to like to pretty much like to sink your hooks in, and as they're on their come up, like get in with them, but I'm assuming it's before they get big, like before they have all the attention, really, which is pretty much exactly what you did with Ian Gary. I'm pretty sure they got together when he was on like the regional scene, and he's undefeated now, so he's probably been undefeated for the last 6 years or whatever, 7, however many years it is. It's just weird, man. It's just weird, and it's just full denial, like, and it really just feels like it's coming from her. It doesn't feel like it's like him having any say in it or actually having an opinion on it. It just seems like him coping with it and just saying like, yeah, they're just jealous of our relationship, which, like, I mean, she's like she's 40. I mean, like, she's not ugly, but it's like, I mean, you're Ian Gary. You could probably get pretty much anybody. Like, is it really that? Like, I'm not jealous for you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm almost a little upset for you, because I feel like it could be a lot. Probably have a lot more options that maybe are more your age or something. I don't know. Who am I to say? But that's what was happening most of the week. That's why we're covering that. That's why it's going to take up most of this beginning segment, because that was really all of what was going on this week. There's no UFC this week, obviously. Let me see. We did get a couple of fights announced. Let me see if we can go through them real quick. Go to Big Marcel 24 on Instagram. He's usually the go-to for announcing fights. We did. Oh, what the fuck is really? What kind of shit is this, man? Why did it make you sign in to do everything? It's annoying. Somebody had MMA Manifest on Instagram, but not on Twitter. That's interesting. Confirmation code. Okay, almost there. Sorry. Why does it lie and say that people are in the Twitch chat? They're definitely not. All right. So, Big Marcel on IG, like I said. We did get this announced. This is going to be the main event, I believe, for the February 10th Apex card. I mean, it'll be a pretty good fight. It's definitely obviously going to be the hardest test for Pyfer so hard. I mean, Hermanson has good grappling, but I would say I'm favoring Pyfer going into this. I don't know. I think Hermansson's what, like 10th overall. Yeah, he's 10th overall. So I mean, that is a big jump up if he does win this. I mean, that really does set him up for the next couple fights inside the rankings. So that's good for him. Kyler Phillips versus Pedro Munoz to be announced. I'll have to go over that. Oh, that's right. So this was a bigger thing that happened. Jalen Turner stepping in for, who was he supposed to fight? Bobby Green. Fuck. What? Who the fuck was he supposed to fight? Dan Hooker. That's right. Supposed to be Bobby Green versus Dan Hooker. UFC Austin, December 2nd, which is this coming weekend, right? This coming weekend. Jalen Turner steps in on short notice for Bobby Green, 12th ranked versus 13th ranked. I mean, it'll be a good matchup. It's kind of funny that Hooker and Turner just fought, and now Turner stepping in for Hooker to fight Green. So it's just kind of weird, but I guess that's how the rankings are when you're kind of stuck in the middle. There's kind of a couple guys stuck whether they're going up or down. So that'll be interesting. I'm kind of favoring. Oh man, that's tough actually. Turner didn't look bad against Hooker, but he did look a little hesitant. He couldn't really get much going, and I think he missed weight too, didn't he? So that's a little bit concerning on short notice because obviously he's a much bigger lightweight, and it is a lightweight fight, it says on here. So I would say that I'm going to favor Bobby Green going into this just because he was prepared for this fight and to make weight and everything like that. So I'm going to say Green, but obviously this is a pretty 50-50 matchup. I think Green probably has the advantage just because it is short notice for Turner. So Blake Builder versus Jiang Young Lee. Was I overpronouncing that? Jiang Young Lee. February. Don't need to talk about that. Don't care. This was a bigger one. Anthony Smith stepped in for, that's right, Azamat Murzakanov. That is going to be the Apex card on December 9th. Smith versus Roundtree now. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of this matchup for Smith. I don't like it on short notice for him. Is it 5 rounds, did it say, Tail? 5 rounds? No, I doubt it, right? Is it main event? No, co-main. So probably 3 rounds. Definitely better for Smith on short notice, but I don't know. Roundtree looked pretty good his last fight. He kind of beat the shit out of, who was it, Paul? Was it Paul Craig? No. What was his last fight? Why did it say notable wins Paul Craig? That wasn't his last fight, was it? No, Chris. Yeah, he beat the shit out of Chris Daukaus. That's right. That's right. He did beat the shit out of Chris Daukaus. Dustin Jacoby, Carl Roberson. Oh, that was a while ago. Jesus Christ, he beat Paul Craig fucking 2017. My God. Dude's getting old. Yeah, Roundtree's one of those guys I feel like he could just not show up, but it's hard to not show up against Anthony Smith because I just feel like he's just such not a threat anymore in the light heavyweight division. I just feel like nobody looks at him as a threat, unless they just have no grappling. But I'm gonna favor Roundtree in this matchup still. Yeah, pretty much all the fights, right? All the big ones. Yep. All right, let's move on to PFL. All right, so PFL this week, they had their Championship 2023. I think there were 6 total championship fights. I did watch this whole card. I'm not going to lie, though. I don't really remember these first 2 fights. I did watch them, and I know Stern kind of just beat the shit out of this guy. It was a pretty easy win. And Karacapa also kind of beat the crap out of this guy. Let's see the stats. Okay, we can look through this. So the first fight, featherweight, Stern versus Blyden. They went the distance, and it seems like it was pretty one-sided, right? It looks like it was 3-0. Strikes landed 105-45, so yeah, it was a pretty big beatdown. Like I said, I don't really remember this fight that well, but I'm pretty sure this dude just beat the crap out of this dude, which seems like from the stats what happened. Karacapa, I think it's pretty much the same thing, pretty one-sided. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. Those are some weird insertions, man, but let's take a look. Oh yeah, it was a pretty, oh no, it looks like this guy Wu might have won round 1, but then after that it was completely one-sided. 108 to 28. 4 takedowns to 0. So yeah, again, just completely one-sided beatdown, which is, again, I watched it, don't really remember it that close, but that was what happened. So get past those two. Those are two. I mean, they weren't boring, but those are two of the kind of the ones that they just filled the card with. Ali Walsh, this is the guy that's the nephew, cousin, something like that of Muhammad Ali. It was a good fight. It was definitely they were trying to knock each other the fuck out. That was for sure. This guy definitely put up a good fight. I mean, he was, essentially put in there to lose. He did have a record of 3-0 before that, but I mean, anybody against an up and coming guy like this, they really are just trying to set him up as well as they can, and it is an amateur fight still. So, credit to this guy though. He landed a couple of really good shots and was definitely trying to, he definitely left it all out there, but it just wasn't really enough, and he ended up getting knocked out in the second round. Pretty gnarly too. It was a pretty gnarly knockout. Let me see if I can look it up. Ali Walsh versus Lopez. Yeah, it was pretty nasty. I bet they're gonna show me an ad, huh? Damn, 15 seconds unskippable ad. That's pretty crazy. Hold on now. The whole thing's over. Oh, yeah. Oh, he rocked him good. He rocked him real good. He is just face down. I mean, that was brutal. Oh, just tags him. Just tags him on the fucking chin with the right. Oh. Oh, he just slapped him right down. And then, oh, that was enough. And now I remember. I was watching this at my parents' house, and that right there, my mom goes, "Oh, that didn't like hit his jaw that hard, right?" I said, "Mom, the dude's bent over, already like relaxed out of it, and his chin's completely exposed, and a clean shot just comes across and just cleans him up. That turned his lights right off, man. You saw his body went completely limp. That one was stumble, and then that turned him off, flipped the switch right off, and that was it. Beautiful knockout. It was a really good fight up until that point too. It was really back and forth. First round 44-82. I mean, he definitely won the first round, but you can see he got some decent strikes off, and exciting fight for sure, especially for an amateur fight. Very exciting. That brought us to the first championship fight, which this was actually on the prelim, so not on pay-per-view. I don't know the first name. Braga versus Pinedo. Gabriel Braga versus Jesus Pinedo. Really good fight. Kind of one-sided though. It was kind of weird. I think Braga just really could not get going. He looked very hesitant, which it makes sense because Pinedo was putting him in a lot of dangerous situations the whole time, and he's a very dangerous fighter. But as you can see, Braga on the AI fighter performance, whatever the hell this is, won the first round, lost the second, and then obviously got knocked out in the third. It was a good fight though. Really good striker, Pinedo. He obviously won the championship, the $1 million, which I think is hilarious that they do it in Washington, D.C. I don't know why they wouldn't do it in somewhere that doesn't have any income tax for these guys, so that at least the biggest payouts of the year that can actually get the full payout with having to pay the taxes and everything like that. But that's whatever. I just thought DC was kind of a weird choice. I don't know if they always do it there. I don't really follow the PFL that closely, but good fight. Pinedo was pretty dominant. I mean, the first round was obviously close, but after that, it was pretty much one-way traffic. Braga just could not really get anything going. Let's see. Oh yeah, next fight was the first. I think this was the first. Yeah, it was the first fight on the pay-per-view. Derek Brunson versus Ray Cooper III, which, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure Ray Cooper III was their. I think they said he was their 2-time champion. Did they say welterweight though? Let me see Ray Cooper III. I think they said on the broadcast that he was like the. No, wait a minute. Let me see what this says. 3, defeating former Strikeforce middleweight champion Jake Shield. Semifinals of play could be defeated. Fahey in a rematch for the second advance to welterweight finals. Cooper faced Magomed Kamir. Oh, that same guy, bro. These same guys have been fighting for these titles the whole time, man. This is the guy that just won. Magomed Karimov. He beat Sadi whatever the hell. Cooper lost via guillotine. It's just like Sadi. So he lost. Okay, did he win any? 2021 PFL welterweight world champion. So he won welterweight in 2021. Obviously, one of their better fighters, has been around in the PFL for a while. And Derek Brunson kind of just made him look like trash. Obviously, a good first round. It was back and forth in the first round. Very competitive first round. I thought Brunson was going to gas, but he really kept the pace on him for the next 2 rounds. I don't know whether it's their drug testing. Maybe he's a little bit weaker. But I don't know what it is. But Brunson usually after a first round like I watched, you would expect him to have been absolutely gassed the next 2 rounds, but that wasn't the case, and he really put it on Ray Cooper. How many takedowns did he land? You know, 2 for 2 on takedowns, but the striking was 159-14, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Really made PFL look bad in my opinion, to be honest, because a guy like Derek Brunson was just kind of getting slapped around in the UFC. I mean, he has a skill set, a good skill set to the point where he can be really competitive with these top level guys, even in the UFC for a round. And he can really give it his all and sprawl and go for takedowns and land some decent shots and do this and that and fight like a drunk guy the whole time. But eventually he was gassing out and just couldn't hang the whole fight. But I mean, he really laid it on him, and I was just watching it thinking, man, this is his first fight in the PFL and he's really making them look bad, man. And after the fight, he said, the PFL treated him really well, and he made so much money in this one fight that he might never fight again. So, I mean, for them, what did they get? They got one fight on their biggest night of the year where he dominated their long-standing PFL. 2023 PFL record. He dominated their, long-standing. Oh, did I not take that? Fuck. Sorry. Dominated their long-standing, guy in this division, or in this company. Came in and kind of just beat the shit out of him, and is kind of saying like, oh yeah, thanks dude, I'm out. Really good for Derek Brunson. Happy for him, man. Happy for him. But that was not a great look for the PFL, and I don't really think. I mean, if they paid him that well, the pay-per-view buys probably didn't even cover paying Brunson well, let alone the rest of the guys that won the $1 million and all that. So we'll talk about the PFL as a business later, but that fight, again, great for Derek Brunson. Beat the shit out of Ray Cooper. One-way traffic after the first round. Really fun fight to watch, though. I was kind of just laughing the whole time. Oh, that brings us. Let me take that real quick. Actually, I'll be right back. Be right back. Hold on. 1 second. Alright, that brings us to this absolute shit show of Kayla Harrison versus Aspen Ladd. I don't really want to go into it. It was terrible. It was really bad to watch. And again, pretty much what happened was Aspen Ladd just hung in there with Kayla Harrison for 3 rounds. And again, really kind of made the PFL look bad because Aspen Ladd was getting slapped the fuck around in the UFC. Goes to the PFL, and she got slapped around her last fight that I saw. I don't remember. Let me see. What is this picture? Why do you look like you're 13? That's so nasty. She beat this bitch. She got wrecked by Olena, whatever the hell her name is, who got wrecked by the girl that just won the championship. But not a great look that Kayla Harrison, who then calls out, Chris Cyborg, is just hanging in there with Aspen Ladd. It really was not a good fight. It was so boring. 37 strikes to 5. I mean, what do I really need to say anything else? Like, that's women's MMA. Yep, only women's fight other than this championship fight which was actually pretty good because this lady just fucking runs through everybody. But all right, next fight, another championship fight. What is this guy? It's like Ina Kasangaway or something. Impa Kasangane beat Josh Silveira. Impa was the guy that got like spinning back kick, jumping back kick, whatever you want to call it, knocked out by Joaquin Buckley. Went over to the PFL and he won the championship. And honestly, he looked great. This Josh guy had three finishes. I don't know if they were all first round. I think they were first round, but he had 3 finishes during the season. And of the fights that I saw was very aggressive. And Impa just came out and really put the pressure on him and didn't let him get too much going. I mean, he was always the aggressor. He was always landing the better shots every round. And the score does reflect that. He obviously won every round. The striking was relatively close. Takedowns 2 for 2 as opposed to 1 for 7. Had a couple of submission attempts. Overall, just a completely dominant performance. He looked really good. And, yeah, Josh just could not get anything going. I don't know whether it was just, it was kind of like I don't know whether it was just his style or whatever, but he really Impa just shut him down and he was fighting his own fight the whole time. He was just fighting the way that he wanted to and was just doing good work. So congrats to him. He won the light heavyweight championship. And from what I will talk about it later again, like I said, but I'm pretty sure what they're gonna do is do some kind of crossover with the champs of Bellator and PFL now that they're one, and that's a great opportunity for him to fight their light heavyweight champ, who I'm blanking on right now. I know who it is. It's the Russian, right? Is it the Russian or is it? Yes, Vadim Nemkov. Yeah, I was thinking of Evelyn, but it's Nemkov and Bader. Okay, Nemkov. That'd be a good fight. That'd be cool. Next up, my most upsetting fight. I really wanted Sadi to win, but of course the wet blanket wins. Sadibusai versus, and this is actually the name, Magomed Karimov. Because apparently one Magomed wasn't enough. It had to put it in the last name as well. Because if you didn't know, Magomed, okay? Kind of upsetting. Like I said, I would have liked Sadi to win. He really could not get anything going. He did not look very comfortable on the feet. I don't know whether he was just fearing the takedowns, but he could not get anything going on the feet and ended up getting himself subbed in the 3rd round. Does it say that he won the first 2? No, it looks like he lost probably the first 2. Maybe he won the second, but he just didn't look very good. Didn't look dangerous. Couldn't really get anything going. Obviously, you can't do any like spins or any crazy shit when you have like a wrestler, because they'll just take, as soon as you try to throw something like that, they'll just close the distance to take you down. So maybe it was a matter of that, but he did not look good. Couldn't fight his fight, and Magomed eventually just got him down and ended up getting the submission. So good for him. I'm sure Sadi will be back next year. He had really exciting fights leading up to this in the regular season, which is kind of the downfall of the PFL. Again, I'll talk about this after, but all these guys have to kind of go for, they're all kind of incentivized to go for finishes during the season, because in their system you get more points for that. But then it leads to kind of some of these fights in the championship being a little bit boring or going to decision because they don't want to take any risk. And I could just tell in some of the fights, some of the fighters' mindset was that they just didn't want to try too much, and they want to risk the possibility of losing. So again, we'll talk about it, but the structure isn't my favorite. Next up, the women's featherweight championship. I think everybody knew that this what's her name, Isabel Pacheco, something like Larissa Pacheco. That's right, Larissa Pacheco. I think everybody probably knew that she was going to win. Looks like she dominated every round except for the 5th round. Again, I don't really remember this one that closely either, but Pacheco dominated everybody going into this. This big Russian lady gave her a decent run for her money by not getting finished at least, but Pacheco's last fight, she literally came out and punched the I think it was the Ukrainian girl literally once in the face, and she just gave up. She has a different level of power, and she looked good. I mean, I knew she was going to win. I think that was probably the easiest money on the card, was to pick her. 155 to 71 strikes. I mean, that's pretty easy. She landed, what's her name? Marina landed 5 out of 10 takedowns. decent, but didn't lead to anything, and obviously it led to her loss. So, congrats for Larissa Pacheco. She'll probably be the champion again next year unless they can get somebody more masculine, let's say, than her. Co-main event was the heavyweight championship. Henan Fahea versus Denis Goltsov. I wanted to pick Fahea going into this, but I just felt like he might choke it, and he ended up not. He ended up having a really great performance. Obviously some trouble in the first round. You can see fucking Goltsov won the first round. Strikes are pretty close overall, but I wonder if I can find this finish. It was a nice finish. Really? AI bullshit apps. Yeah, pretty gnarly finish. Had him in some trouble and then just rocks him in the chin. Let's slow this down. Stretches out the jab, gets caught with the right on the chin. Absolutely wobbled, you guys. Totally wobbles him, and then again follows up with another straight right on the neck. Sometimes his neck shots, man, they can just throw off your equilibrium. Oh my God! Then the Francis Ngannou hammer fist misses, but he really wound up for that Francis Ngannou hammer fist. Really good finish for Henan Fahea. And he's the champion. They have a okay heavyweight division. Obviously, it's going to be interesting with Francis now, and that was really probably the bigger prize out of winning this was now probably having the chance to be Francis's first fight in the PFL, unless they bring somebody else in to fight him or something like that before the title fight. But I would think that would make the most sense would be to have his first fight of the season next year against Francis Ngannou. I think Ngannou is coming back in March or something like that, maybe. I think he's supposed to. Does Ngannou has a fight, right? Maybe not. Oh, that's right. They were going to bring in Wilder. I forgot. So they might bring in Wilder. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know if Wilder wants to get his legs snapped off and be paralyzed the rest of his life and not be able to walk because Francis' one leg kick will just snap his shit. So we'll see what happens. But congrats to Henan Fahea. He wins the $1 million and the potential chance to fight Francis first. So that'd be big. Last but not least, the main event of the evening here tonight. Olivier Aubin Mercier versus Cassius Clay Collard for the lightweight championship. Again, kind of a, I don't want to say a boring decision, but like the strikes kind of tell the story, man. 129-86, and the guy with the less strikes ends up winning. So it's like, it was kind of boring. A lot of takedowns from OAM. Good back and forth fight, but just not that exciting for the main event of the evening. I thought the other fights really kind of really delivered, but this one was kind of, they're both dangerous. They're both dangerous, and they both know that, so that's why it's kind of back and forth. But that does kind of lead to a pretty boring fight. So overall, honestly, I don't know what we give that. Terrible. Hold on one second. Anyway, overall, I'm giving that card. I mean, to be fair, so the only free fights, like not even free, it was on ESPN Plus, was this one, the Wu, Ali Walsh, and this one title fight. So they had 4 fights on the prelims, and then the main card was, I believe, $50. Obviously, who the fuck's paying for that? I wonder if you can see the pay-per-view buys. But anyway, the fact that it's pay-per-view is going to lower the overall rating for me just because that was not pay-per-view worthy at all, just being honest. But overall, the card for me, the performances, the skill level, I'm going to give it like a 4.5 out of 10. I'm going to go 4.5. There wasn't any, I mean, the Henan Fahea knockout was like pretty decent. There was some decent fights, but just wasn't. It's just different, especially like when this is an amateur fight. So it's like, yeah, it's a really good knockout, but I'm gonna go 4.5, maybe a 5 out of 10, because this Brunson fight was pretty good. I did enjoy watching him do that. Let's go 4.5, 5 out of 10. Pretty decent card. I'll be watching next year. I'll be watching their, if I don't have anything else to do, I'll be watching their season next year. So, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's finish up with the next week's fight card. Let me get an ad blocker on here real quick. Hold on. Let me get an ad blocker, please. Oh, my allergies. Does that work? Alright. Let's put this here. Alright. Alright, we're gonna wrap up today by going over next week's card, December 2nd, live from Austin, Texas. Kind of early start, 4 p.m. for the prelims, 7 p.m. for the main card, ESPN Plus and ESPN for the main card. Beneil Dariush and Arman Tsarukyan are going to be the main event, pretty decent main event, but we're going to get started with the early prelims. First fight is Veronica Macedo versus Jamie Lynn Horth. The odds are obviously pretty close. Oh my God, dude, I'm dying here. Oh my God. Wonder if I can let me do this real quick. God, I hate that picture they use of Aspen Ladd. That is so creepy. Yeah. Register. Okay. I don't even care. No, not a CAPTCHA, please. Okay. Alright, we're good. Verify or no, fuck off. Do it later. Okay. Alright. UFC Fight Night, Dariush versus Tsarukyan. Alright, first fight. I wonder if I can zoom in on this. Indeed I can. Indeed. Can I do it from here though? How do I... Can I just do the predictions? How do I do that? Make picks. What? Make picks. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Alright, we're gonna make our picks. Oh, jeez. Nice picture. Veronica Macedo versus Jamie Lynn Horth. Jamie Lynn Horth is... Oh, my God. Oh, she has one win in the UFC. Against Haley Cowan. Okay. So that doesn't... Well, okay. So she is 6... I don't even want to do this. Alright. Alright, we're picking for Jamie Lynn Horth versus Veronica Hardy. I'm going to go Veronica Hardy just because I honestly think the UFC wants her to win. I'm assuming it's going to go to decision. That's the safe bet for a women's fight. And neither of them really have much finishing potential, to be honest. Let's see if Hardy does at all. Juliana Miller, if you can't finish her, you're not finishing anybody. She's sub Polyana Viana. That was 4 years ago. It doesn't really count. So we're gonna go with a nice boring decision to start off the card, and Veronica Hardy wins. Yeah. Next up, more exciting fight: Wellington Turman versus Jared Gooden. My gut instinct is telling me Wellington Turman. That could just be because I see him more often, but that's just what I'm feeling. He is a 2-1 favorite. Jared Gooden's last fight was against Charleston Harris. Yeah, okay, so he's pretty trash. He did beat Damon Jackson by knockout, but that's not really saying much. Is that who that is? Damon Jackson? I don't know. DeMarcus Jackson. I was gonna say, I was like, you fucking beat Damon Jackson. So he's one fight in the UFC and he lost a boring decision. Great. Wellington Turman. He's coming off a loss, right? Lost to Randy Brown, lost to Andre Petroski, beat Sam Alvey, lost to Bruno Silva. So honestly, he doesn't really have any good wins to stand on. Lost to everybody decent, but I favor him coming into this matchup. I see him more training with he trains with Alex Pereira a lot, and I've seen him training with Strickland too. So I'm assuming he's just getting some better looks in. I'm gonna take him by, kind of like him by submission, but I'm feeling decision. To be honest, we're gonna go with the decision for this fight as well. Although I do think Turman might find a submission. Next fight, Ihor Potieria versus Rodolfo Bellato. We'll see what these guys are working with in their last couple of fights. I remember watching Ihor, but I don't remember all these fights amazingly well, so I will refresh my memory because then I will remember. He lost to Carlos Olberg. That makes sense. Beat Mauricio Shogun Rua. Lost to Nicholas Negurmiano, whatever the hell his name is. And then won on the Contender Series. So he's 1-2 in the UFC. All finishes in his fights, so that's something to take into consideration for sure. Let's see about Bellato. Is Bellato making his debut? He is. He just won on the Contender Series. Did I remember? Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. No, that was Victor Petrino. Floors Bellato for KO win. So did he lose? Oh, he lost on the Contender Series to Petrino. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. All right. I think he gets chinned. Let's assume he gets chinned. I think I'm going to take Potieria by chinning. Let's go. Moving on. Steve Garcia versus, oh my God, Mel Costa, whatever that is. No, to be fair, he is a pretty good fighter. He is a 2-1 favorite. Over a 2-1 favorite. Last win is over Austin Lingo, lost to Thiago Moises. And those are his two fights. Won by decision, lost by sub. Let's see Steve Garcia, what he's working with. He is coming off a win against Cheyenne Nurenbeki and Chase Hooper. I lost to Mahashet. All right. I mean, he's got a pretty back-and-forth history at Jackson Wink MMA, 14-5. Coming off 2 wins, all finishes too. And honestly, that's a pretty decent underdog against Costa, to be fair. That is a pretty decent, just based on the experience. I honestly think I'm going to go with Garcia. That might be a really bad pick. Might be a bad underdog, but I think I'm going to bet that underdog. I think I'm going to bet. Has he been knocked out? Has he TKO Doppler? That doesn't really count. He hasn't been knocked out. He has been subbed. And Garcia does not sub, only knockout. So, I don't know. Definitely going to be a standing fight, I would imagine. I think somebody gets knocked out. I'm going to take Steve Garcia by knockout. That's just me. I'm going to take Steve Garcia by knockout. We're going to go with that. That's what the feeling I'm going to get. I'm not going to look too far into these fights. I think if you look too far into it, that's when you start overthinking it, and I'm not going to overthink it. We're just going to go with that. All right. Next up, we have Joe Solecki versus Drakkar Klose. Drakkar Klose, 13-2, coming off of wins over Rafa Garcia and is that Brandon Jenkins. Lost to Beneil Dariush. That makes sense. Beat Bobby Green. I mean, oh my God, he has a pretty good record, man. I mean, these aren't like amazing wins. Bobby Green 5 years ago isn't an amazing win. Beneil Dariush is a decent fight to have. Not terrible though. Decent record overall too. He's fighting Joe Solecki. Dino Costa da Silva. Wait, what? Oh, lightweight. Another good record, man. Lost to Jared Gordon, though, via split decision and knocked out by Nicholas Mana. Ooh, none of these are good wins. I'm going to go with not this guy. Drakkar Klose, is he the favorite? Who's the favorite? Drakkar Klose. Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to go with Drakkar Klose by... Jesus, I don't even know. I think I'm going to say decision. I don't know. God. Yeah, I'm going to say decision. Both these guys have a lot of decisions. I'm going to go Drakkar Klose by decision. I don't even like. I'm not doing too much into this. I'm just gonna go with whatever I feel like, and we're gonna see what ends up working out. And I'm gonna run this all next year, and we're gonna see what kind of numbers I get. Just going on whatever level of research I do, which isn't going to be a lot. I want to just go mostly based off of just my feeling. Because I watch all these fights, but to be fair, I don't remember every single fight as well as some other people do. I don't remember every little intimate detail of all these fights. That's why I'm gonna look at ESPN just to kind of jog my memory. I've pretty much watched every fight since 2021, so most of these guys have all had a decent amount of fights in that time for me to go based off of, and I can look back at some of the stuff other than that. So whatever. Cody Brundage, dog shit versus Zach Reese. Let's see what we got going on here. I think Cody Brundage is fucking horrible. Zach Reese is 6-0. Got a win on Dana's Contender Series. By sub. That's good. Cody Brundage just got subbed, correct? No. Won via DQ to Jacob Malkoun. Oh, that's right. That was bullshit. That's right. Got subbed by Adolfo Vieira. Got subbed by Olachechek. Lost to Cedric Dumas. Oh my god. He's only still here because he won via DQ. Anyway, I'm not taking Cody Brundage. No fucking chance in hell am I taking Cody Brundage. I'm going to take Zach Reese by sub, I think. I'm thinking sub. I'm thinking Zach Reese sub. Oh, do I have to pick the round too? I'm going to say round 2. I'm going to say sub round 2. Decision, I don't have to pick. KO round 3. I think it's going to be a TKO round 3. Pateria, I'm going to say round 1. Decision and decision. Okay, I'm good. I forgot I had to pick the rounds. Alright. Next up, oh boy. Miesha Tate versus Julia Avila. Avila is a favorite over Miesha Tate. That's kind of embarrassing for Tate, huh? She has a win over Julia Stoliarenko, Gina Mazzani, Penny Kennard. Okay, I mean, she has some decent wins. That's fair. How about Miesha Tate? Jog my memory. Okay, that makes sense. Lost to Lauren Murphy. Holy shit. Ketlin Vieira, Raquel Pennington, Menendez. All right. Yeah, I think that probably makes sense that they're trying to feed Tate to Avila. So I'm gonna go with Avila by, what was she being finished by recently? UD. All right, we'll say decision. Looks like she doesn't get finished. We'll say decision. I think Avila's gonna win. It looks like Tate doesn't get finished easily, so we will go with Avila by decision. Nice. Next up, Clay Guida versus Joaquim Silva. This is going to be interesting. Clay Guida is a 3-1 underdog essentially, but you never know. He's never out of the fight. Joaquim Silva's last loss was against Arman Sarukian. He lost to Glenn and Hakrazat. Ronson doesn't really have any good wins, man. Nothing really to stand on his record. I mean, I guess that's why he's fighting Guida, because Guida's kind of not really that high up either. Garcia beat Holtzman, lost to Puelles. That is, oh, yeah, subbed. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I was going to say, that's tough. Lost to Mark Madsen, too. I mean, that's tough, man. This is a bad fight. This is just a bad fight. Someone's going to win by decision. I guess we're going to take Silva by decision. I don't really know. We're going to take Silva by decision. That's just going to be a bad fight for everybody. Next fight, this will be good. Punahele Soriano versus Dustin Stoltzfus. I think someone's probably getting knocked out here, right? Someone's probably getting knocked out here. Yep, Punahele got knocked out by Kopylov. Beat Luna, whatever. I'm not saying that. Lost to Nick Maximov. Lost to Brendan Allen, I'm assuming. Yeah, middleweight Brendan Allen. That's pretty bad. He beat Dusko. That's pretty fucking bad. Dustin's had a pretty up and down last couple of fights as well. Holy fuck, that's bad. Someone's getting finished, and it's probably going to be Dustin, I would imagine. I think Punahele trains with Strickland, too. Extreme, yeah. So I think he probably has an advantage going into this. His wins are by knockout. We're going to take Punahele by knockout. I think that's probably a safe bet. I felt like Dustin was going to get knocked out, and that even helps me confirm it even more. I'm going to say round 2. Next, this would be a good fight. Sean Brady versus Kelvin Gastelum. I am going to go with Brady, I think, but let's take a look. He's a very slight favorite against Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum moving back down to welterweight. Brady's last fight was an absolute fucking shitter against Bilal, whoever the fuck his name is, Muhammad. Beat Chiesa, doesn't really mean much. Beat Jake Matthews, doesn't mean much. Beat Aguilera, whatever the fuck, doesn't mean much. Naruto doesn't mean much. Not really great wins other than like him being undefeated. Gastelum obviously has had a much deeper past. Coming off a win against Chris Curtis, lost to Cannonier in a decent fight. Lost to Whitaker in another pretty close fight. Oh, excuse me. Moving down in weight though. And I think this got pushed back a couple times. So, honestly, I think I'm going to take Sean Brady. I think I'm going to take Sean Brady. I guess sub by Jack Hermanson, Chris Weidman. I'm gonna take Sean Brady by sub. I think that's probably the only way he wins. I think if it stays on the feet, Kelvin Gastelum probably wins. But I'm going to take Sean Brady by sub in round 2? Round 2, maybe? Next up, another great fight. Rob Font versus Davison Figueiredo. I'm going to take Rob Font by TKO round 3, I think. But let's take a look just in case. Round 1 against Yanez. Lost a decision. I mean, Figueiredo can go to decision. That is true. I mean, he definitely has the cardio and the patience. Lost TKO, decision, sub, draw, sub. Oh man, sub, decision. I mean, it's a lot of finishes, but I think he's gonna be playing it slow. I don't think he's gonna be trying to go for the finish, knowing that Rob Font's dangerous and he's moving up in weight and all that. So maybe we will go. I'm gonna go Rob Font by decision. I think Rob Font beats him by decision. I think he wins regardless, but I think Figueiredo will probably be safe enough to keep a decision. Oh my God, they're doing Bobby Green dirty as fuck. Both of them, dude. What are these pictures? Look at that nappy ass hair. I'm gonna take Bobby Green decision. I'm gonna take Bobby Green by decision. Not gonna do any research into it. I think that's the pick. I think Jalen Turner has a tough time making weight, and he's probably gonna have to push down pretty hard to make weight on short notice. Not on a lot of training. Or wait. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's stepping in. That's right. I think Bobby Green has the advantage going into this 3-round fight. I'll take Green. I don't think Turner's going to be dangerous enough for Green to get out of there early. Could prove me wrong. Bobby Green's gotten starched before, so it's possible. But I'm gonna go Green by decision. Brings us to our main event of the evening. Beneil Dariush and Arman Sarukian. Beneil obviously coming off of that TKO loss to Charles du Bronx. Arman Sarukian, who did he lose to last? He lost to Gamrot, that's right. He lost to Gamrot, beat Damir Ismagulov, and is this Joaquim Silva? Yeah. So not great wins coming back up. He was on the come up, obviously, and fought Gamrot and lost. That was a pretty rough loss for him, honestly. I like Beneil going into this more. This is obviously a matchup that was kind of being looked at for a while. It's definitely a nice top contender matchup for somebody moving up. Beneil, really, if he loses this, he's probably out of the running for quite a while. And Arman coming up, that'll be a 3-fight winning streak for him. And beating Beneil is a nice step up for him. So that'll definitely give him probably a top contender fight, I would imagine. Where is he at? This isn't okay. I thought that was the rankings. Does it say where he's ranked? I don't know. Arman is a 2-1, almost a 3-1 favorite. Wow, that's surprising to me, honestly. I know Beneil's it is kind of Beneil's on the downslide and Arman's coming up, but if you look, they have a similar amount of fights. Arman is 7 years younger. That is going to play a role in it. And Beneil looked really bad cutting weight last time. That is true. And that wasn't even for championship weight. So I guess I will take Tsarukyan. I really want to pick Dariush, but I think Tsarukyan probably gets it done. I'm gonna say decision. I think they're gonna be rolling around a lot, and I think it's just gonna be stalled out a bit. I'm gonna take Tsarukyan by decision. I'm gonna take Tsarukyan by decision. I think we're gonna save. Your picks are entered. That's what I'm thinking. PFL buys Bellator. All right, it's been a little over an hour. Is that what this says? Yeah, it's been a little over an hour. I'm gonna wrap up by talking about the PFL and Bellator merger. Just to put it simply, I think it's just kind of a waste of money. I don't think that it really advances PFL forward anymore than spending the money elsewhere maybe, or just getting better fighters than buying Bellator. I don't think Bellator's brand really had any value at all anymore. I think it was kind of a waste of money. I'd love to see how much they spent. Does it say, or landmark deal for Combat Sports? Yeah, and they act like it's a big deal and all this stuff, and all the fighters are going to be over here now, and it's like, but it's really not that big of a deal, man. Nobody really cared about the fighters at Bellator. You know, the Bellator and PFL both try to plan their big events on weekends that the UFC aren't going to be on. I mean, Bellator PFL just had their biggest event of the year on essentially Thanksgiving weekend, the 1 week that UFC doesn't have anything around. So it's like, yeah, you can say, oh, it's so big and this and that, and it's going to be the amazing event with champs versus champs. But at the end of the day, do people really care? You really got to break it down. Like the amount of people that watch MMA, and then the amount of people that are casual to MMA. It's like the amount of people. It's like this is the amount. If this is the amount of people that watch MMA, this is the amount of people that would watch PFL and Bellator. You know what I mean? Because they actually like MMA. They don't just watch UFC fights with their friends or at bars and stuff like that. You know, there's a big difference between the mainstream like UFC fights, which it is mainstream, but it's also the trendsetter. So it's not really mainstream if it's setting the trend. So I just don't think that PFL or Bellator compares. Obviously Bellator didn't compare because they had no money. They were making no money. They were done. And PFL, anybody that really is that into MMA, I feel like, oh, got him. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Anybody that's really into MMA, I can't sit there and watch these kind of fights with no elbows. No elbows is like, it's just kind of too much for me. You know what I mean? Like the no knees to the ground of the opponent is already kind of like, what the hell? But no elbows, I get that their structure is like that, but I think it's a flaw to their structure if you have to do that. There's so many fights where the guys will get to the ground and the guy's on a really dominant like mount position, and you see them trying to punch, and it just looks, the fight would be over if they had elbows. You know what I mean? So I think as a whole, this doesn't increase their competitiveness with the UFC at all. They might have added another 50,000 fans that were still watching Bellator religiously that might still follow those people over there. I think they're probably going to do everything they can to keep all of the Bellator fighters in PFL and not let them get over into the UFC, because I think that will be even more of an issue for them, is if these guys leave the Bellator PFL merger and start doing well in the UFC, and probably for less money too. I think that's going to be a really bad look for them. All these other organizations have right now is saying that they pay more money and this and that, but at the end of the day, they're all losing money as a business, and what this is at the end of the day is a business. You can't put on great fights and get all these good fighters and continue to promote when you're losing money and you're going to be out of business and you're like one championship losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year. That's not, you can't maintain that. So yeah, it sounds great. Oh yeah, we're merging. We have Francis Ngannou. We're gonna bring in Deontay Wilder. But does anybody really give a fuck about Deontay Wilder versus Francis Ngannou in MMA, or in a mixed skills competition. You know, they did that in one with Rodtang and DJ, and personally, I love that. That was one of the most legendary fights. You know, watching the first round be Muay Thai and Rodtang trying to finish DJ, knowing that if they went to that second round and it was MMA, that his chances of being finished were so great, and it ended up, you know, DJ just kind of survives the first round and finishes him. It's just not really what we're looking at with Francis and Deontay Wilder. I just don't think it's that big of a draw. I don't think it's going to sell pay-per-views at all. I think that's a given. I really don't think that there's any fight that they could put on besides maybe co-promoting John Jones versus Francis Ngannou that would do any kind of considerable pay-per-views for PFL. I just don't see it happening. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's a waste of money for PFL. I don't think it's going to increase their market share or competition at all. Maybe gives them a few more, you know, insights with some sponsors or something like that. But as a whole, I think it's a waste of money. I'm really struggling with my allergies right now, so I'm gonna call it there. I'm gonna cut this up a little bit. We'll make some videos, post that on the channel, and I will be back for sure next Sunday to talk about the card and everything coming up the week after. I might also be streaming during the week though, so please subscribe, put the post notifications on. I will see you all next week.